Hello and welcome to this episode of the Degenerates Podcast. I'm Tom.
I'm John.
And I'm Andrew.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome. And today, John, you're a whore. What's your favourite film?
Of all time, masterpiece, hands down, Alien.
Alien?
Yeah, the original 1979.
First one, John Hurt.
That's it. The one that started it all. I've countless seen it since I was a kid. I can't tell you how many times. But it's just... everything about that film, the plot itself, the premise, you're talking B-movie potential type premise. Like the ship in the future lands on a planet.
Is it Nebuchadnezzar? Or?
Yeah, isn't it the Nebuchadnezzar? No, that sounds...
What? The name of the ship? The Nostromo.
That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
What's the Nebuchadnezzar?
It's
That's
Matrix.
from another... That's it, Matrix,
Yeah.
I knew it was from another movie. It was the name of a ship. I was like, what? No, I've heard that.
It was an ancient king of...
Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, of...
I don't know.
And neither do I was hoping you know.
Go on.
But, yeah, like, it's a B-movie type plot, and that it could have been... And originally it was the screenplay, Dan O'Bannon and Ron Shusett, who wrote the screenplay together. Essentially, it was going to be a very quick John Corman type cheap horror film. They were going to make it for a couple of million and knock out. Like, Corman was very good at knocking out cheap, effective films. He worked with James Cameron very early on. Cameron's first gig was working on Corman films. Piranha 2, The Spawning. Which, he claims to this day Terminator was his first film. It wasn't. It was Piranha 2. But yeah, it could be a monster movie type B movie. But the way Scott directs and crafts the film, visually, thematically, and like orally, every shot is beautiful. The film is a work of art.
I love the scene at the end where Ripley's escaped. She's on the shuttle.
Yeah, the narcissist.
And the aliens is there. He's hiding along all the pipes.
Yes.
And you slowly see it basically just defold itself.
Yeah, she doesn't see it to begin with because the design, Hedgehog Giga's design of the creature, it was so biomechanical.
Yeah.
Like, its head's almost like a large pipe, very phallic.
Well, that was his sort of thinking behind it, wasn't it? With the head shape and the
mouth.
Yeah.
Yes, Giga had a book of artwork called Necronomicon, which has really disturbing dreamlike imagery. Like, one of his famous paintings is called The Field of Penises, and it's literally everything's phallic, and they all look like certain like female and male anatomy parts with teeth and things like this, and it's like. It was so disturbing, and Ridley Scott was flicking through this book, and he was like, literally said in an interview, he said, "This guy's got problems." He said, "It was very troubling, but I knew that if the guy who was capable of these paintings designed a monster," he said, "we'd have something no one had seen before."
Yeah.
And was something that could, as one person said, the thing about Alien, especially the first film, which is why it's so disturbing to me, much more than in the sequels, the alien, what does it do? Well, it just kills. But in the original film, there was a very subtle, disturbing context of what it was doing.
Yeah.
Was it killing you? Was it raping you? Was it laying something inside you? There was a really psychosexual, disturbing current in the original film, I think.
This is is it which is more disturbing, the huggers, the face huggers?
Exactly. It doesn't get more symbolic than that.
What's worse for you? Would you rather be killed by the alien, or would you rather have?
Yeah.
I'd rather take my chances, as horrifying as it would be. I'd rather take my chance with an adult alien.
Yeah.
Because the facehugger, the horror behind that is there is no escape.
Yes.
Once you wake up, you're dead.
Yeah.
But it's something that I love. I love the sequels. Everyone loves Aliens, the James Cameron film. It's a lot of people's favourite film.
That's the third one, right?
Second.
What's
the third one's Alien Cubed, Alien 3, with the little 3 next to it.
Right, yeah.
Which is the one with the human-alien hybrid.
Alien Resurrection.
Is a bag of crap.
Alien Resurrection is entertaining,
Resurrection.
No. Hear me out. She's dead. She dies at the
basketball shot, right?
Yeah, she got it in one take. It was you see Ron Perlman's face in that shot because he couldn't believe she'd done that. So they just kept him and him going, hey. But it was Resurrection. I read the novelization as a kid, and I really loved where they were going with it. Yes, she kills herself at the end of 3 because she's got a queen alien inside her. She throws herself backwards. A sequel was totally unnecessary. Alien works perfectly as a trilogy.
Yeah.
But Resurrection, though, as I've said to people, I watch it. It's fun. It's got some great lines. It's got some great character acting in it. And the plot is just, it's out there.
I've got a question for you.
It's got the bit where he gets terrified by the spider and they just fucking
Love
shoots
that.
the spider.
Love that.
No
I would
reason.
do that. I would do that. I hate spiders. If
So-
I had a gun around, I would just shoot them.
Who, out of the whole franchise, who's your favourite character?
Well, out the whole franchise. Well, it has to be Sigourney Weaver.
Right.
Why?
See, mine's Bill Paxton.
Oh, okay. Are we talking in each? I've got like characters that I love in each film.
Okay, we'll do that then.
But Sigourney Weaver, the role of Ripley, the character of Ripley, is just she's fantastic. It's like, this is what annoys me, you know, when you get a lot of people now saying, oh, you know, there's a glass ceiling and there's not enough female actresses. Great, fantastic female actors. Or when I was a kid, it was actresses, and now they're all actors, aren't they?
Was it Linda Hamilton?
Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
It's been superb. But in each film, I love. In the first film, I absolutely love Yaphet Kotto, who plays the engineer Parker, because he happens to be in 3 of my favourite all-time films. He was like he's in Alien, he's in The Running Man, and he was Mr. Big Kananga, the villain in Live and Let Die, opposite Roger Moore.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in 3 of those films, I love you. But yes, it's the law of diminishing returns in some aspects of the franchise. I don't include, I must add, the Alien versus Predator films. That to me is a separate thing.
Yeah.
I
love Predator and Predator 2. I'm not interested in it.
The third one, is it the third one where they're in like San Francisco or something? Or is that the second one?
Second one is
The second one in LA,
LA,
in the city.
Where is it? Scorpios, red.
Yeah. It's superb entertainment.
Did you watch that
haven't.
I sent you?
The what? Yeah, I did.
What do you think?
What trailer for what?
The latest
I
Predator.
thought the same as Critical Drinker,
is,
where he literally he's done an upload of a video. Well, Critical Drinker's talking about not so much the plot of what it's going to be, Badlands. I'm guessing it's a sequel to Prey, which I still need to get around to watching.
It's actually not bad. Prey.
But yes, I've heard Prey's alright.
That's the TV show, right?
No, film.
I'm sure
it's a
Prey-
Predator film where I think they go. It's basically like.
Well, it's based on the premise that the Predators have been
Indians.
visiting this planet for a long time. It
Yeah.
alludes to it in Predator 2, right at the end when he's got that. I think he gives Danny Glover the flintlock pistol.
Yes.
And you think, whoa, that's from like the 1500s. Where'd he get that from? So they've been coming to the planet. And I think, is it Native Americans?
Native Americans, yeah.
Yeah. I heard it's good.
Yeah, not my brethren, but yeah.
But, oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, the Cherokee.
Oh yeah, Andrew is part Cherokee, aren't you?
No.
Dances with the environmentalists.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, Badlands, a Critical Drinker uploaded a video where he's just basically, the video's entitled, "What the hell is this?" ? Exclamation mark, because he's confused by it.
It's like the Predators, the protagonist, I think.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So what is
Oh
from
my
his perspective?
god.
Yeah.
Really? Do we need that?
No.
I don't remember anyone asking for that.
It also looks
Hollywood
weird as
don't
well.
care.
Yeah.
In
Hollywood
fact, if
is-
you haven't asked for it, they'll make sure you see it.
Yeah.
I want to see one from the point of view of the life of a struggle of a facehugger.
Yeah.
I mean, that single-minded desire to jump on someone's face and insert anyway.
Yeah. That's what you
Anyway.
want to see. So what's your
I digress.
your favourite film then?
See, this is the thing. I'm a bit basic. I've not seen nearly as many films as you.
You're just a basic bitch.
I'm a bit of a basic bitch, yeah. In terms of
Who said that? I think it was
films that made me feel the most and really got me and made me cry multiple times throughout because
Step
of the
Brothers.
whole because of
100
the
more
whole journey
Dalmatians.
of them. It's School of
Bambi.
Rock. No,
I love School of Rock.
it's a great film. No,
Fantastic.
I have to say for me, all-time favourite is because I got so invested into the whole story arc of
Cinderella.
all the movies. It's Cinderella. No, it's Avengers Endgame for me. I know you're thinking it's basic. It's just superhero movies, but I grew up with these films.
Yeah.
Now I have to say I do love a good superhero movie. I never got invested in the whole Marvel thing that's happened in the last 15 or so years,
Since 2008.
Yeah.
but I do like, for example, when I grew up, they're your films, you grew up with them. I
Yeah.
grew up with Tim Burton's Batman,
Mm-hmm.
and
To be fair, I did as well. To a certain extent, with
yeah,
Sam
you
video
had them
tape.
on video, yeah,
I
and
had
you
them
did watch
on
them.
VHS. I'd come home from
And-
school and I'd put
Yeah.
I had the little TV with the VHS and I'd watch
I don't.
And I
Tim
love-
Burton's Batman and I'd watch
And I love Sam
Batman.
Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I loved
I
them.
wasn't a
But
massive fan of them.
the first two,
Oh,
brilliant
they're
films.
great.
Third one is.
But did
I'll
you like
think about it.
Spider-Man as a kid, though? Because I was a huge Spider-Man
Just
geek
watched
as a kid.
not the comics, the cartoons, Spider-Man cartoons.
Video
Yes,
games,
the
comics, the 90s cartoon.
90s cartoon,
Yeah, I tell you,
X-Men as well. I used to watch,
yes, yeah. I mean, I loved Spider-Man as a kid, and I thought that Sam Raimi, I thought the villain in that first film. I know there's like, it was over the top, it was ridiculous. I think Willem Dafoe is
Oh no,
fantastic
I did
Oh,
enjoy
as
yeah.
Green
Willem Dafoe.
Goblin.
Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe is
Fantastic.
perfect.
I did
And
think
when
he
they
was
when they
good
brought
in
him back in Spider-Man
See, I haven't seen that.
Far
It's not
From
bad.
Home
Yeah.
or No Way Home. I think No Way Home.
I liked the concept that they weren't bad people and they were bringing. So like, because you've obviously not seen it, it might be a bit of a spoiler for John.
What the last Spider-Man?
Yeah, the idea is that Tobey Maguire's Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, the bad guys died, right?
Yeah, essentially they
Tom Holland found a way to save them, essentially.
yeah.
In that they were good people that turned into bad guys.
Yeah.
And then they said like Doc Ock and all that kind of stuff, and then they found a way
Yeah.
of bringing them back. To
Yeah,
be-
but that's a confusing message.
It-
Because
it
at the end of the
works.
day, it's not your fault or the hero's fault if someone turns evil.
No,
No,
But
of
You
course,
shouldn't
but I
give a
think
damn about redeeming
the
him. You
premise
should
of
just
it
want to
was
stop
it's
him.
giving these amazing characters that maybe weren't done so well
yeah.
in the original
But they were.
films. Giving them one last shot
Yeah.
of.
Yeah,
This is
but not
how-
everyone needs a redeeming arc.
No, but
I think it was more a
worked
case of a
quite
bit
well.
of it worked really well, and I think there was a lot of fan service in that film, and it was here's what we could have, what Marvel in this day and age can do
Yeah,
to
But
these
you could-
characters that we all love from years ago, from the Sam
I
Raimi
get
Spider-Man,
that, but isn't that-
from the Andrew Garfield?
But isn't that still
So-
taking something that happened and doing a coulda, woulda, shoulda, and then re-examining it in terms of a timeline?
well, this is what they can
But
do
they-
now because multiverse.
yeah.
I know they can do it, but that doesn't mean that what went before was bad.
No, it doesn't mean it was
that's not what
bad.
I'm saying.
That's
We enjoyed
generally
them, we
what.
love these characters, but here's how they could have also been.
Yeah.
Because there's never a perfect adaptation.
No, there isn't. But again, yeah. But,
So-
but I don't. I see. I don't. I'm not of the thing that things have to constantly be remade or revisited,
No, but it's
and
not
that's
really,
what everyone's obsessed with
that
now.
one's not, it's not really that. That's not the point behind it. I think if
Yes.
it was, that would be bad. But the point behind it was that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is different from the
Yeah,
others.
he's not the same as them. He's
Yeah.
a young kid, but also knows he wants to try and save the
It's quite
person
innocent.
before he.
in a
So what is it
he's
saying
looking
then?
for the best in everyone,
yeah.
rather than instantly thinking you're a villain. You need to be stopped.
He's thinking
That's
you're a villain,
naive.
I need to stop you, but I'm going to help you at the same
That's
time.
naive as fuck.
Yeah, it's a little idealistic. but
Yes.
It brings it back to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah. So with Marvel Endgame being your
Avengers
favorite,
Endgame. Yeah.
yeah, okay, but it's still a Marvel film. So what about that? Because for me, watching the whole series,
I think it's about 23 movies.
yeah,
God.
I was very glad when it ended.
Really?
Yeah, because I've seen many good films, and whilst I didn't
obviously
grow up with
you're
it,
older than I am, so you had. Because obviously since 2008, I would have been.
I think
12.
there's only so much CGI you can kind of deal with.
Yeah.
And I don't.
CGI is fantastic if it's used as what it was designed to be,
Yeah.
a tool.
Yeah,
Yes.
when these films first started coming out, I was probably about 12-ish. 2008
Mhm.
would have been around. And I'm thinking, it's
Christ,
when I
that's
probably would have
advanced.
started getting into movies. And these were readily available. Obviously, I'd had the love of the Harry Potters and everything before that, but they were still coming out.
Right.
That I haven't got the reminiscence now that I can look back and think, oh, blimey, I'd love to be watching Harry Potter for the first time. Now I can watch every single Marvel movie. I did it again during COVID. I watched them all.
Right.
And I can watch them all, barring the odd couple that, like, Thor the Dark World is not the best
It's
film.
not very good.
It's out of all of the Marvel movies of the Avengers saga, it's the lesser of the group.
Love and Thunder come out. Did that
Love
come
and
out
Thunder. I
after?
enjoyed Love and Thunder. Actually,
Did you?
A lot of people didn't like it.
I don't think it was very good.
I thought it was a fun watch.
Yeah.
It was what it needed to be. It
I
was
just-
moving on from
Was it
And-
after Endgame?
yeah.
Right. Okay.
So
it was
since
done by Taika
Endgame,
Waititi,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Because
Um,
Ragnarok was brilliant.
Ragnarok was fantastic.
Yeah, I love
It
that
was
film.
really
I was
good.
just-
That was probably one of the best after Endgame. That's the top Avengers
Right.
Infinity Saga movie, I think.
I was just thinking in terms of the timelines there, and you were saying you're 12 in 2008. I just realised that when I was I was security guard at a cinema in York, and in 2002 when I started working there that summer, and I was in my office and that desk, and you'd have been 6 years old, and I was working in a cinema, and Spider-Man came out that summer,
Yeah.
and I had my Green Goblin action figure on my desk in my office. And I just suddenly realised that you might have been 6, but I definitely hadn't grown up.
What's that childhood trauma, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, yes.
But I think everything that the Russo brothers did with Avengers Infinity War,
Mm-hmm.
and then bringing that into Avengers Endgame and how they capped it off, and that big CGI scene where you just have Captain America and Thanos standing against each other. The others, everyone's down. It's just these two left, and you hear the Sam Wilson Falcon. You just hear it on your left.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
call back to way back when
Captain America.
to Captain Winter Soldier.
No, it wasn't Winter Soldier. It was the first Avenger.
No, it wasn't the first Avenger.
Captain America.
It was Captain America, but it was Captain America Winter Soldier.
As an
No, that was the
outsider,
second one. That was the
The
second
first Avenger is the first Captain America.
Yeah,
Captain
that's what I'm
America
saying.
Winter Soldier is where he met Sam Wilson.
one. Oh, I didn't realise. Oh, okay.
Where he's outside
Yes,
the
yeah. No, you're right, yeah.
the Washington Monument and he's running around
On
and he
your
keeps
left,
overlapping.
yeah.
I think if I'd grown
and every
up,
time he overtakes him, on your left,
Yeah,
on your left,
yeah.
on your left, which is why when you have that
Goes,
big
don't say
scene,
it, don't say it!
all you have is on your left,
Yeah.
and then the portal opens,
Yeah, no, you're
and
right.
then everybody I cried. I genuinely cried at that scene because from before that, because I got so hence the arm.
Yeah.
I got the whole arm done. Before that moment, the Hulk had done the click, the snap, and has it worked? The birds are back. Is everyone else back?
Mm.
What's going on? And then that massive big scene where it opens to the wide shot, and you just see all the thousands of portals and everyone comes back, and you're like, you know what? Now this has become a proper movie. We're all everything that we've been watching for years is finally about to pay off.
How do you feel about Robert Downey Jr. playing Doctor Doom?
I like it.
Yeah.
I think there's multiple ways it can go. It can go either. I've seen some things where it's going to be a case of Doctor Doom comes to this universe because it's going to spawn from the new Fantastic Four movie that's coming. Because the idea is, I think, is that Doctor Doom.
Christ,
From
how many
that
versions
universe
of Fantastic Four have there been?
This would be the third iteration. No, the fourth iteration.
Fourth.
Because the first one didn't actually get released, did it?
Did you see the Critical Drinker
No.
review? Oh, yeah, it's not great. He's
But,
a bit. He's a bit.
Look,
disappointed
I
about
listening to you talking about them, like I can tell that you got a lot of passion for them and you grew up. I think if I'd have been your age when that was happening,
we'd
I'd
been
have
the same age,
absolutely
you'd have
been
You'd have
invested.
been how I am, like
But-
you are
but
about.
To be
80
fair,
years.
there was nothing else for a long time. That's why I was kind of glad
Well,
when
this
it
is the
ended
thing.
because I was like, oh, at least we're going to get some decent.
Yeah, this was the interesting change in film and cinema in the last 15, 20 years, I'd say. When I was growing up, there seemed to be a lot more of a variation of movies, both in the cinema and in home video. Superhero films had existed. It existed since Superman in the late 70s. And then, of course, Batman was a phenomena in 89. And it was a summer blockbuster. It was a huge thing. But in the 90s, superhero films weren't really a big thing. There was Batman, there was a couple of things. But I've never seen a time in film history where it's just superhero films.
It took off with.
It originally started.
It was Iron Man.
Well, no, the first movie. Yeah, so the first movie was Iron Man. It was Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, 2008. That same year, you had Edward Norton's The Hulk, the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
But then he ended up turning out he was a bit of a dick on set and was trying to rewrite the film and everything. They didn't carry on with the Hulk, and then they ended up selling the rights to the Hulk to Universal.
See, I like the
which is why currently we don't actually have a standalone Hulk movie in the MCU.
I like the Ang Lee Hulk film.
I like the Eric Banner Hulk film.
Yeah,
I
was
really
him.
enjoyed them ones.
Yeah, Eric Banner. Yeah, you won't like me. You won't like me when I'm Ang Lee.
Yeah,
so I just like that.
Eric Banner was.
I thought it was a good film.
I think it was a very good film.
It was a good film.
They did a lot for the backstory as well.
Yeah.
Not so much for how the comic books does it.
The original TV series from the 80s, which
Lou
Ferrigno and Bill Bixby. Bill Bixby, who played Bruce Banner, was so good because he was such a nice guy.
Every time he was walking off and he played that music.
At the end of the episode.
Yes,
really
and
I'm sad and lonely music.
He couldn't stay long in one place, and he just drifted around. And the thing is, he was such a likable guy, and it was I remember the original pilot for that. It was 2 episodes put together, so it's feature length, where he basically tests this thing on himself, the gamma rays. And he's trying to... Was it his wife in a car accident? And he's trying to save her?
I'm not sure.
And he basically harnesses that strength to do it. But it really captured the essence of, this is a curse.
Yeah.
You know, there's not... And I always... When he was a kid, it scared me to death. I used to hide my face when he transformed, because when he was attacked, he was trying to protect people. But as normal Bruce Banner, he couldn't do much.
Yeah.
But I always remember the classic line in each episode when someone like they're going at him and being aggressive, and he's like, "Don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry." Yeah. And it's just as soon as he did that, I was like, "Oh God!"
Here comes Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! But yeah, moving on. Andrew. I said mine. John said his. What's your favourite of all time favourite movie?
It's got to be With Nell and I.
Debbie Does Dallas.
It's a struggle, that one, because I can only answer in what genre.
Don't be a bitch. Don't pussy out of it. Just answer the question. John answered it. I answered it.
Yeah, but there's so many great films.
Yeah, there is.
So many
but
great films.
Me having one all-time favourite doesn't mean I don't have loads of other films I love, because I do. Are you just saying that you've got so many you can't pick one?
Kind of.
Which is understandable. I get
He's
that.
basically being a politician.
No,
sitting on the phone.
I mean, okay, you're pushing me.
Andrew.
I would say no.
No.
I would
I'll
say
tell you a bloody good film, Minority Report.
It's not a TV show as well.
I don't know if it's a TV show, it might be. But I'm about the Tom Cruise. Based on a Philip K. Dick story.
Best film.
You do like Last Samurai as much as I
do like Last Samurai. It's good, but it's not. I wouldn't say it was the
Master and Commander.
best film. Master and Commander is
another great film. It's superb.
I played the game. I've not seen it.
If we're saying probably favourite, are we saying favourite?
Yeah.
Generally, if someone says, "What's your favourite?" Yeah, that's what the connotation is.
It's normally how the question works, mate.
I'd say Doctor Strangelove, or
Doctor
How I Learned to
Strangelove.
Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
Right. See, you got me to watch this not long ago,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it was an age gap thing. I got a lot of the references in it.
What, because
And
it's in
whilst-
black and white as well?
See, I don't mind. I used to watch the Munsters with my mum.
Yeah.
Monsters, I've got them on
Monsters was
DVD.
I
It's
used to
brilliant.
fucking love the Munsters. It was brilliant.
Superb.
Yeah.
But
And the Beverly Hillbillies.
Yes.
The grandmother used to wave
Gold, gold, Texas tea.
yeah, no, I just didn't. I didn't connect with it how I thought I would, and how
love
you were talking
Kubrick,
about
I
it.
would say this about Kubrick. I would say some directors have a sort of genre that they would and they're known for.
Yeah.
But I would say the likes of Kubrick and Scott and a few others, they can't be pinned down into any one genre. I mean, if you look at Kubrick's films, I mean, if I had to pick a favourite Kubrick film, it's really tough.
Yeah.
Because I regard two of his films as masterpieces. I think 2001
Not seen it.
and Full Metal Jacket are masterpieces.
Yeah.
Both
Jacket I've seen.
very different films,
Okay, 100%, yeah.
but they're
But
masterpieces.
then I think for me, like, because I like the Goonies as well. I'm
You put the
massive.
Goonies in that.
I tried to.
Not the Goonies.
The
not
Goonies,
the film, the Goonies.
right.
Oh,
So the Goonies
Yeah.
were Peter Sellers, Harry Seacombe, and Spike Milligan,
right.
and they used to do a radio show back in the day, and
Back in there.
yeah, and so like I'm a massive like Spike Milligan. I actually the only poems that I know are actually Spike Milligan poems.
Right. Is he a
But
poet then, or is he?
no, he was a comedian.
Oh, okay.
It's Doctor Strange, Peter Sellers.
Yeah, so Peter Sellers played.
He's fantastic.
He played like 5 characters, but I think he was supposed to. Play,
Yeah.
He was supposed to play the character that Slim Pickens plays. The
cowboy hat,
pilot cowboy.
the pilot of
The
the.
one that
he-
jumps on the bomb.
And so yeah.
Sellers'
So he
character.
was supposed to play that, but he had an argument with Stanley Kubrick when he was in the B-52 mock-up.
Yeah.
Fell out and broke his ankle and couldn't get back in
Oh, right.
to film the rest of it. So they brought in Slim Pickens to do that role, but I think that it worked far better having Slim Pickens.
Yeah, definitely.
As
He
that,
as the
like,
yee-haw,
Yeah, yeah.
and he just rides the bomb as it falls out.
100%.
Favorite line in the film is it has to for me. It's just genius. Peter Sellers when he's playing the president, and the Russian and the German. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
the
the war room.
Yeah. I was going to say that's
Yeah.
the one film, the one,
I think
the
what was
one line, because I'm not going to be, I might lie shut. I was in and out of sleep when I was watching it.
Yeah.
It wasn't great for me, but I was watching it, and I just saw that scene. And it's like, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
I think
Yeah.
there's
And it
It's a
did
classic.
giggle. I did
lines
giggle.
in it
I
that
did
make me
giggle.
laugh. One is what's his name? The guy who plays. I think it's R.C. Scott. Is it?
Is he the really paranoid
General.
army?
Yeah, and he goes,
General.
"But you'll see the big board."
Yeah.
And then
Is he the one going on about the fluoride?
no, that's the
American general. He's the
in
one that
charge of
starts the whole
bases.
thing,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
I think I might have to give it another watch, because it wasn't a terrible film.
And then there was one of my favourite bits is the Marine sergeant who basically Peter Sellers as the RAF officer is asking to phone the president, and he's asking the Marine sergeant to say, like, do you have any change? And he goes, you think I'd go into battle with change? And then he's like, well, shoot the lock off the Coca-Cola machine, like, to get change.
Yeah.
And then he goes, okay, but if you're wrong, you're going to be in trouble with the Coca-Cola company.
Yeah.
Wasn't it also there was a guy that had the arm of?
Oh yeah, so
Nazi or-
Yeah, he was an ex-Nazi
Doctor-
scientist.
Yeah,
That's
Doc-
Doctor Strangelove.
Strangelove, yeah.
Right, yeah.
And so he's got like
The
supposedly
amputated
like
arm of
a Nazi
soldier.
soldier,
Or
and,
But
and so he keeps kind of shooting.
But he,
off.
but clearly, he had been a Nazi, and obviously, every now and then he'll forget
Yeah,
that
he's
it's not
just
the
my
war
Führer.
anymore, because he refers to the president as a Führer, and then he has to correct it.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
yeah. But obviously Peter Sellers is playing the Doctor Strangelove. He's playing the president.
Yeah,
I love the
fine.
conversation between, even though it's one-sided, because you can't hear the Russian president premier, but he's like, when he's having a discussion with the Russian premier saying about you're sorry, I'm sorry, we're all sorry, like, because you've got a rogue general that send these bombers to attack Russia.
I think the film perfectly encapsulated the hysteria
around that time.
around the Cold War.
Yeah.
Because when was the Cold War? Was that the 60s or was that
The Cold War stretched from 45 to
Yeah.
the fall of the Berlin Wall in the late 80s.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
So the end of
what way off.
as soon as the Russians basically the
They
Iron
had to
Curtain.
divide up the.
As soon as Germany was split between East and West, and you
Yeah.
had the Soviet Union on one side, then as soon as the World War II ended, tensions between Russia and the West
Yeah.
started.
Right.
It never turned into a hot war, but it was always referred to as the Cold War.
Yeah.
The peak of that, the closest we came to nuclear war was the Cuban Missile Crisis in '67, I believe, where basically the Americans wanted to get rid of Che Guevara's communist Cuba because it was too close. So because Che Guevara felt not Che Guevara, Fidel Castro. Che Guevara was his right hand man, wasn't he?
Why is Che Guevara the guy that's on all the t-shirts?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Why?
Because it was.
Because students are stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Also, there is a good film called The Motorcycle Diaries, which is the before Che Guevara becomes Che Guevara. He rode a motorcycle around South America, I think. It's not a bad film. I can't remember who plays him though.
But yeah, they wanted rid of him because it was communist Cuba was too close.
Right.
So Fidel Castro, feeling threatened to protect himself, invited the Russians to station some missiles on the island, which was an extreme no-go. So Kennedy was under pressure to basically launch an invasion of Cuba,
Right.
which could have led to World War III.
Yeah, they essentially blockaded
Yeah.
the Russians from putting any missiles in Cuba.
On Cuban soil,
And it was, I think the Russians just. Everybody
Khrushchev eventually,
backed down, didn't they?
well, Khrushchev and Kennedy had that conversation. You see, Khrushchev was an intelligent man; he could be reasoned with.
Yeah.
No one at that point. They all knew, they were smart enough to realise that if this war gets going, no one wins. We're finished.
Yeah.
So no one was stupid enough, thankfully,
Yeah.
to do it. Although we wouldn't know about it because we wouldn't have been born.
Yeah, pretty much.
So moving on to, if we're going to keep talking films in this episode, favourite genre?
Oh, so many.
Yeah.
For me, I'd say probably would be superhero / comedy, just purely because of the mix. I love the superhero movies, like obviously the Avengers and the Thor Ragnarok really encapsulated that for me.
I'd say, for me, horror sci-fi.
Yeah, I would probably say
Although I love
sci-fi comedy.
Sci-fi comedy.
Yeah.
sci-fi comedy, that's nice.
Is that
Yeah.
what like Trek Wars is in, or is that with the Wookiees? And
So
the
sci-fi
Chewbaccas?
comedy.
Well,
The
sci-fi
film that
and
instantly
comedy.
springs to mind if I think sci-fi comedy is Galaxy Quest.
It's a great film.
And
film.
yeah, it is good.
Again, I've not seen it.
But no, look,
I
like
need to watch some of these
it's
movies.
sci-fi and comedy, I would say, but sci-fi comedy together is like Galaxy Quest is a really underrated film.
It is. And it's a sci-fi comedy.
But then you've got Spaceballs, which is Mel Brooks.
I have to say, never been a Mel Brooks fan.
Have you not?
No.
I think Blazing Saddles
I
is
think-
probably a masterpiece, I would say.
I think Mel Brooks' humour's way too... It's on the nose. It's like... Compared to something like the Zanuck Brothers Police Squad, Airplane, Naked Gun, the humour in that. Oh my God. Like, the jokes in that, whether you're watching them or listening to them, I like my jokes subtle. Like deadpan, subtle, and that Mel Brooks is like getting punched repeatedly in the face.
I don't know about that. I think
There's
a lot of
it's not...
subtlety with it. Maybe not in Men in Tights, but
No, I'm thinking Young Frankenstein. I'm thinking a lot of his stuff. I just think it's like being bludgeoned over the head with something. But that's fine. Each to their own.
well, this is it.
But yeah, I do think I do horror. I think you agree that there's some classics and there's some terrible films.
Yeah, I struggle with horror. I
See-
think I struggle with the modern day like Paranormal Activity and stuff, because that stuff, even though it doesn't scare me, it plays on my mind.
Yeah, it freaks you out a little bit.
Whereas
The Producers, that's a Mel Brooks film I like.
Yeah, and then I think that the older horror is just ridiculous. But then,
well, when you say older horror, what do you mean by that?
Freddy Krueger.
Well, yeah, but that's not older horror. That's a genre. That's slasher film. They quite often devolve into shite.
Yeah,
but if you're talking about the granddaddy of slasher films, Hitchcock's Psycho, that's a masterpiece.
Yeah. But then there was...
See, I've not
because
actually
obviously
seen Psycho.
horror films aren't really my thing.
I need to watch it. It's black and white, right? Isn't that the one where the
original
shower scene is going,
yeah. The original Psycho. Psycho 2, which was set 23 years later and actually was made 23 years later, is a masterpiece. In fact, I would say it's just as good as the original. That's very rare.
But then there's with horrors, not really my thing, but I've seen many of them. However,
psychological horror, I do love.
You made you didn't make me watch, but you
I did.
You gave me
eyelids peeled over.
Yeah.
Hellraiser.
Yes.
Hellraiser 1, 2, and 3.
We keep talking about Hellraiser. I need to watch it. I haven't got around to it.
Yeah, don't watch anything after the third one. But it's such an original concept.
Yes.
Even Andrew was like, "That's interesting."
Yeah.
A take on interdimensional beings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just such a.
It was because they weren't really. Like, I was quite surprised in the first one. They're not really...
By how turned on you got.
What are these Cenobites, aren't they? So I thought they would be like a huge part of the film. But they're not at all. Not the first one. And the second one, I think the second one is where they have most of the time on the screen.
So what is it? These beings from another dimension then?
Yes. Yeah. It's a world next to ours.
Right.
The conduit to it, I don't know who made it, no one does, it's been handed down as a Chinese puzzle box. Right. And basically, if you're using this, depending on what your inner desires are, or what sort of character you are, because someone could solve that puzzle box and not open this gateway of this world of pleasure and pain. It has to be seen really to be, but it's beautiful.
To think we hesitate.
I know it really does. But yes, we'll introduce it to them.
Yeah.
And the effects, considering when that was made, the gory effects are superb.
The third film was the one which. I don't know, like it disappointed me a little bit in the jump scare.
Yeah, but I tell you what, it's almost obscenely early 90s.
Hellraiser is the Pinhead guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of another, like I say, in terms of the slasher film, the 80s was huge for slasher films, but the Halloween films, I absolutely...
Halloween's, I recently rewatched them.
Yeah.
They're absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, the original John Carpenter's Halloween is how to build suspense. My God. And a lot of people think of the Halloween films as like any slasher, they think of the gory and that. Some of the sequels were really gory. Yeah. Watch the original. There's no blood.
The original
There's no blood.
Good. The remake.
See, like,
you know about Rob Zombies? I don't even think about them.
When he's a kid.
Yeah.
It's just like, why do I need this?
Why you don't need it? You don't need it.
Ask for this
but again, that's Rob Zombie. He's got quite a basic mind.
Again, I would say that you didn't make me, but I watched it with Tim Curry.
Original.
Tim Curry, yeah. Which.
Because I've not seen the original one. I've seen the new.
So
it's a product of its time. I'm not sure whether you would like it. It's a case of.
I was a bit bored.
I watched it as a kid. It's in 2 parts. I think the build-up of tension and suspense in that. I mean, it's again. I guess it all depends on what scares you.
Yeah.
I think the idea of a creature which feeds on fear. Targets children because they believe in, it basically scares them to death and then preys on them. The idea that the adults can't see it, the adults stop believing.
Yeah.
When I first saw that as a kid when it was on TV, Tim Curry's performance as Pennywise, I mean, it was the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah.
I mean, it made more people bothered about clowns than they reckon anything else. Even though clowns were kind of in the zeitgeist of horror, a lot of people say that, Stephen King is responsible for everyone hating clowns.
Yeah.
He's not. I think his serial killer John Wayne Gacy probably did that himself.
Yeah, he might have played a big role in
I
that.
don't think he helped.
What was there was a film I watched the other day, and I was talking to you about it, and where I said that Tim Curry was up for the part, but then didn't get it. Oh, Roger Rabbit. Who framed
Yes.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yeah,
you
brilliant.
said.
Yeah, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Christopher Lloyd.
And then Christopher
absolutely
Lloyd
fantastic in that.
actually got the role,
Yeah.
but it was offered to Tim Curry first, but apparently it was so sinister, they thought we can't.
Well, he was too creepy with it.
Yeah, we can't do this because it's supposed to be.
I
like
can
a
buy
kid
that
film.
because Tim Curry's he got in the end he got annoyed at roles where he was heavily made up because people couldn't see it was him.
Yeah.
He wanted to be himself. Because Pennywise, and in the early 80s, he's in a fantastic Ridley Scott fantasy adventure film called Legend, where he plays the Dark Lord. Tom Cruise, very young Tom Cruise, is the hero in it. And he's like the Lord of Darkness, and he is terrifying. And again, it's not a horror film; it's like a fantasy film with the huge, like the horns and that. And the way he is and speaks, and his voice, his deep voice, and that. I mean, I can see that. I can see him being too scary.
Yeah, apparently they offered it to John Cleese after Tim Curry.
John Cleese, really?
But John Cleese wasn't. It didn't do very. Like, it wasn't right because he was too jokey.
Too funny with it.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that bit in Legend. Sorry, just the bit when he's speaking in terms of how sinister he can be when he first. That the hero Tom Cruise is trying to rescue this unicorn. It's a really good 80s fantasy film.
Yeah.
And it's just this brilliant bit where he suddenly finds out that Tom Cruise is trying to... He realises that he's been the one foiling his plans and that, and he finally gets... He's absolutely massive. He's like 8 foot tall sort of thing. And he's got this broadsword, and he like points at like this young Tom Cruise, and he goes... In his voice, it's just brilliant. He's like, well, what do we have here? A little boy. It's just superb the way he says it.
Congo?
Yes.
Yeah, because he was in that one, see, Tim Curry. I always remember him talking about trying to climb up the mountain, and he was basically saying, you'd be out of breath when you smoke 20 a day.
Congo was one of those films which was better as a book.
Yeah.
There are many films that are better as a book.
Yeah, we touched on this.
We spoke about the Percy Jackson. That are better
Michael Crichton, I will say this. Crichton books do translate quite well to film if they're done well. I would say Sphere, the Andromeda strain, Jurassic Park famously.
Jurassic Park.
There is some superb, but not all of his novels would translate. But just that's like with anything, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose it also depends on the screenplay.
Yes, big time.
The director of the film, like
yes, whether they understand it.
Or not, are you able to see what they saw?
Yes,
when they were writing it and put that into a perspective that we can actually enjoy.
Yeah, like we touched on in the first episode when we talked about why is it that a great writer like Stephen King, my God, when it comes to adaptations of his work, to say it's a mixed bag is an understatement.
I've got a question.
A lot of them
for
are very
you.
50-50. Like Pet Sematary was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it?
Yeah, the original Pet Sematary genuinely scared me when I watched that as a kid. And it's not bad.
The remake was terrible.
Yeah. But I tell you what, the remake makes the original look great.
I think I know the answer to this one already. However, what international film? What's your favourite international film?
As in, like a film made from a different country.
Mm-hmm. That's what
I've got two. Yeah. I've got two.
Just double checking, like a foreign name. You have
subtitle. You mean subtitles? Yeah. Hans. Well, I've got two candidates.
I know one's definitely.
It would be the one that, for me, it would be the one that you got me to watch it, Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth, yeah.
Because I don't watch films with subtitles because of dyslexia. I find a lot of the time is reading too much. Quite a lot of the time I had to stop watching anime.
See, because that's why I watched
they speak too fast.
Yeah.
And the words are just gone, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Part of the reason I watch those kind of films is because with dyslexia, I'm trying to keep my eye in so I can see if I can read it quick enough. The only one I ever struggled with was Battle Royale, which is Japanese. So if you think,
Well, they
Japanese,
speak.
yeah,
They
this
talk
is
very
what I'm
fast.
saying
So
about
quick,
anime
like, but it's
is
like-
why I had to stop watching anime
yeah,
because the subtitles are so quick.
yeah.
Unless
But-
you speak Japanese,
Yeah.
you are gonna be like a
'Cause
super reader
I don't know if
or confused.
with Battle Royale, it's like a mixture of 1984 with the Hunger Games.
Oh yeah.
But it's a great film.
So-
yeah, go on, John.
So there's oh God, there's three. There's a really fantastic French film. I believe it's French. Yeah, there's a film that there was actually a sequence of films. There was a few of them, but the one that stands out, The Glory of My Father, was a French film set just before World War One. This family, they're on holiday. It's like a coming of age drama. The greatest World War Two film, Downfall.
Yeah,
That's a masterpiece. Bruno Gantz's portrayal of
Brilliant,
Hitler.
Yeah, I mean, he's been.
It's
memed
basically the bunker in Berlin, the final days of the war.
Yeah.
Hitler and his
Him
inner
and
circle.
the
The Russians are closing in, the end is nigh.
Right.
And the feeling of the build-up of palpable terror and dread, because it's all the time. It almost like, essentially like some people have described the Nazi movement, it's that feeling of death is in the air. Like, they knew the game was up, and the amount of people by the end that are biting on cyanide capsules and blowing their brains out, and it's all true, and it's that feeling of, it really is deep. But in terms of an emotional film, which was beautiful, and again, it's kind of like, my other one, very, very film close to my heart, Cinema Paradiso.
Mm-hmm.
That film, it's basically, he gets a call, I believe he's an Italian director, and he's in his 40s, and he gets a phone call, and he's a successful filmmaker, and it's basically a message telling him that Alphonse, this man, an old man that was in the village where he grew up, he's passed away, and it hits him, and he's travelling back to the town he grew up for the funeral, and as he's travelling back, the story is told backstory when he was a little boy, growing up after World War II, and basically his dad never came back from the war, and Alphonse was an old projectionist at a cinema, and basically through the little boy helping him in the cinema, the kid grew up watching these films and developed a love of film, and he would eventually be a director. And it is so heart-wrenching, and it's a film about like growing up and the past, and he goes back to the cinema as an adult and he's looking at the ruins of it, he's looking through stuff, and by the end it's a long film, especially the director's cut. It's like probably close to 2.5 hours, 3 hours, but wow, that was an emotional gut punch. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so what films have done, obviously you said about Marvel, but what films have kind of elicited that kind of emotional
Well, like really,
reaction?
oh my god.
Yeah.
I'd say the first film that ever made me cry was, I think I told you about this, Simon Birch.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It was such a sad film.
Yeah.
Because I remember right at the very end, because obviously he drowns at the end. Spoilers.
I'm not familiar with this.
You might have seen it,
might
but
have seen
like
it, but
it's
not
such
remember
a...
it. It's a young boy with severe physical disabilities. He's got like dwarfism and other physical things, and he basically just wants to play baseball. And he gets, I won't go into the ins and outs of it, but it's right at the end, he's a really good swimmer. And the school bus or something crashes into a lake, and he ends up being the one to be able to save people, but in doing so, he drowns himself, I believe. And it's just that right at the end, that scene was like there's like a deer on the water and whatnot, and I don't know, it just got me.
Yeah. So I don't think
No,
I've
I've definitely not
cried.
seen that. Christ, it does
I
sound
don't
sad.
think
It's,
a film's ever...
it's a very, very good
Is
film.
it what
Very sad.
era? What year was
I
that
think we're
made?
looking
90s.
early 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever cried because of a film. The film...
You heartless
I tell you what,
bastard.
yeah, so one bit got me in a film. Which
Really, you've never been that moved emotionally?
No, there was only one bit which ever's made me go, oh, Jesus.
Was that David Douglas?
Oh, I do have a heart.
It was The Patriot.
Where's he going with this?
So not the one with
Okay.
Harrison Ford, but you know the Mel Gibson.
One with Harrison Ford. You mean the Patriot Games?
Yeah, not Patriot Games, but the Patriot with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, the hatchet job on the British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was the bit where his young daughter hadn't spoken since the mother had died, and then he'd gone off because obviously the war started, the Civil War started. Well, not the Civil War, the independence, and then so him and like Heath Ledger's son were off fighting, and then they came back to where all the people who were hiding on the beach, and the daughter saw him and come running up and was going, "Papa." No, that was it. He was about to go off again because she wouldn't speak to him, and then he was about to leave, and then as he was leaving, she come up the running up the road going, "Papa, Papa," and I was like, "Oh God, that got me." That
Right. Yeah.
In terms of like Mel Gibson films, and mostly because he's a fantastic actor, there's a bit the one that got me like that was one of my favourite M. Night Shyamalan films. Signs. It's superb.
That's a really good.
The bit at the end where he sat with his family at the dinner table. It's basically an alien invasion type plot, but it's very subtly done, very realistically done. This family, he was a preacher basically. He was a reverend, and his wife died in a crash, and he stopped believing in God after that happened, because it was a case of, well, if God could let this happen, and his kids are upset that he's not, he doesn't believe that anymore. And there's a bit where they're all sitting down together at the dinner table. They've barricaded the house. They're not sure what's going on out there, but they know it's bad. And they're all sitting there, and they're having dinner, and they're waiting for him to say mass around the dinner table, and he won't say it. He's not interested in saying it. He says, "Just eat your food, eat your dinner." And he's sitting there, and then one of the, his daughter starts crying, and then the kid's like, "I hate you," and he's basically because he's changed since their mum died and their dad died, and he's like, "That's fine." And his brother's Joaquin Phoenix is his brother, and he starts eating. And as he's eating, Mel Gibson, he starts crying, and then the kids are upset, and they all go over and the hug. Joaquin Phoenix really awkward, and he's sitting there, and then he gets dragged into the family hug, and it was because it could be the last night. They don't know what's going on there. That was very emotional to me.
I think that because it is M. Night Shyamalan.
And he's
best film. He was like, I watched The Village, and that was I figured out what was going on like half an hour in.
Sixth Sense.
So bored.
Sixth Sense was emotional as well. That was a gut punch for me. But I think Signs is my favourite.
Do Split.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
You can only watch Sixth Sense once. And not
you
go,
can
right, I see
but when you watch it again, it's really fun to spot things.
What trigger? But the Signs, like you said, the whole thing with Joaquin
it's
Phoenix,
a wonderful family story.
The girl, I think it's Abigail Breslin, and then what's his Macaulay Culkin's
Rory
Yeah.
Culkin.
He was really good in it.
He was really good,
and the whole story.
It was just so believable as this sort of family living out in the sticks, and the family story was.
It's a true suspense kind of.
Oh God,
how it all ramps up.
Yeah, and like I say about the alien backdrop, is you're not quite sure, just like you wouldn't be in real life. The news are saying one thing.
Yeah, it's when you see it clip on the news, and you see that it's like a Mexican party or something, and they've got a camera there, and they're all kind of staring at the back window,
and they're wondering what they're looking at.
Yeah, and then the next minute, this thing just
walks up because it's almost like it was camouflaged.
And they all go.
So what is it, like an alien invasion type thing?
Yes, but it's not an Independence Day type thing. It's as if what would happen if here's a little family living in the backwoods with their own troubles and strife and their own grief, doing the day-to-day life. In the background, something major's happening around the world.
Then it's because M. Night Shyamalan, he
M. Night Shyamalan.
I can't say his name.
Shyamalan. Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, whatever. So him, he plays. I think it was the Doctor. Is it? But he's the one who killed his wife.
He's the one who accidentally killed his wife in the hit and run.
And then they speak to each other. They speak to each other, and he's because he's injured. because he's trapped one in his house.
Oh, there's when he when he comes to the
saying that I'm really sorry for what happened.
Yes, there's that bit where he's talking to Mel Gibson about what just in other words, they're just giving him information
There's
that's
huge
relevant.
Spoilers here if you haven't seen the film, by the way.
He's giving.
If you haven't seen it, there's no point.
Yeah. But that bit where he's giving him information that he needs to know. Mel Gibson is superb when he stood there and he's fighting emotions because this is a guy that ostensibly killed his wife.
Yeah,
but he's at the door and he says, "I can't." He says, "I understand." He says, "Look," he said,
"Don't go in the pantry."
I can't. Yeah, don't go in the pantry. That's the final thing he says. But yeah, when he goes, "I can't." No, he says, "I can't make up. I can't. I can't imagine the grief I've caused to you and yours." And there's a bit of Mel Gibson. He's trying so hard to forgive him, but he's just like this bit, and he's like, "Okay," and but again, I think that range of emotion and depth of Gibson's character in that is superb.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, he's probably like, it's all round.
2002, again, I was working at the cinema. That was the first year I started there. There were some great films that year, and I remember that came out, and on the cinema, on the big screen, in the dark, that bit where they barricaded themselves in and that, and I got tickets to. I let my mum and my stepdad and a few friends, I got them in for free to see it and that. And oh my God, the tension in the screen. It's very tense, that film.
So what films or what actors do you think deserved sort of Oscars or nods and stuff but didn't get? What?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
If
there was an award,
Conan.
If there was an award, no, seriously, if there was, Arnie would. People knock his acting. By the way, I will say one of his best performances is as a washed-up
Jingle All the Way.
No, the washed-up, drunken, grief-stricken cop in End of Days. He's really
Good.
superb.
It's very good. Yeah.
Gabriel Byrne plays Satan. But yeah, what I mean by Arnie is, all jokes aside about his acting, I actually think in terms of charisma, the guy has it in shovel loads.
Oh God, yeah.
Did you ever watch the documentary they did on Netflix? Have you? But
I need to get it.
It's a good documentary. I think that
you reminded me. I do need to get that. I want to watch Tim Dillon's new thing.
Blood Diamond. I think that both.
Good film. Good film.
Both. This is what I was trying to get to.
DiCaprio.
In the first episode was that DiCaprio should have got an Oscar for that, and so should have Dimon Hussein. I think that's how you say his name. They both were brilliant.
I used to got Digimon Honsu.
I think with DiCaprio, Wolf of Wall Street, for me, he should have got an Oscar for.
Yeah, no, I saw that at the cinema.
It was so good. For a long time, it was my favourite movie.
I don't know about Oscar worthy, that one.
I think his performance was perfect.
Yeah, my only problem with that film, and I don't know whether you were supposed to, because I came out that screen again. It's a problem I have with some of these films, which we're talking about the character he played, and a couple of other people on the screen agreed with me because we were having a chat as we were leaving it, and I said, were we supposed to like that total piece of shit?
Yeah.
Because he was a character that was utterly, as in real life, devoid of morals.
Yeah.
He destroyed people's lives. Yeah. And yet in the film, he comes across as this fun-loving, almost anti-hero type, what's he up to now? He's off his head on Quaaludes, crashing a yacht. And I'm like, okay, you do realise this guy destroyed people's lives.
Yeah.
And I thought it was strange the way that... I know he's a all-time... It was a Scorsese film. I get he's a fantastic... I just found the way he was portrayed in that troubling.
So I think as well, just bringing up Scorsese films, which one do you think is the best one? Because I think The Departed is probably the best. I think that all of them, like Matt Damon, even Mark Wahlberg,
I'm trying to think because
DiCaprio, Martin Sheen.
I'll be honest, I'm not the world's biggest Scorsese
movies
fan.
And directors.
Yeah.
And I think if you just say Scorsese, I'm thinking, what films did he even do?
Question then: did he? I'm sounding a bit ignorant here. Who directed Gangs of New York?
Yeah, it was Scorsese.
Right.
Oh, that was a brilliant film.
See,
Gangs of New York is
I love Gangs of New York because Daniel Day-Lewis in that film. Oh my God, I love him.
I've had a debate with a few people, and everybody pretty much says Gangs of New York, but I think it was a good film. but I think The Departed
Daniel
was
Day-
far better.
The reason I say that, I think Daniel Day-Lewis, as good as DiCaprio was,
Mm.
Daniel Day-Lewis makes Gangs of New York.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah.
superb.
But it's like what Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah.
You know.
But his anger towards the newcomers to
Yeah.
the city and that, and it's just that ferocity, the way he says it. Yeah, it's just. I thought the costumes and everything was just
Everything was spot on in
brilliant.
that film,
Yeah, no, it's a good film. I just think The Departed is better.
yeah. I'll have to watch The Departed. I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah.
No, interestingly enough, I was thinking about Michael Mann in terms of. Now, I know you said you didn't really like Manhunter, which I regard as an absolute masterpiece. But do you love Heat?
Heat.
Yeah.
The film Heat with
Yeah.
like Val Kilmer and
Yes.
that's a brilliant
Yeah,
film.
yeah. Would you say that's probably one of your favourite, like Michael Mann films?
Yeah.
Or have you not? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Heat is a great film. Like the whole thing, because I think it was up until then, Al Pacino and Robert
Pacino and De Niro, they
never
hadn't
worked
been in
together.
a film together.
Yeah.
No, and it's brilliant how one's a cop and one's a bank robber.
And their whole
It's-
back and forth is,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Fantastic.
Great.
Another film that I haven't seen.
I mean, you know, so you've seen every Marvel, but
Yeah, well, I
you've seen
grew up-
Shawshank Redemption. haven't
I've
you?
seen Shawshank Redemption, yeah, and a few of the big ones. I tended to watch films that my mum was watching.
Right.
So if it's a film, the kind of genre that my mum enjoyed when I was growing up, I would.
Well, it was the same. It was my mum that had brought my love of films, because I loved films, but it was generally a family thing.
Mhm.
You see, growing up in the world me and Andrew did, you'd watch a film, it was like a family occasion. Oh, it's on TV tonight.
Yeah.
We'd all sit down and we'd watch it. Like the first time as a little kid, we all sat and the lights dimmed and we saw Jaws on TV.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
just fun. And then you go to school the next day and everyone's talking about it, because before streaming and the internet, that was it. There was
take
4
years
channels.
to come out on TV. Though,
Yeah.
we would all tape it as well.
Yeah. Batman came out in 1989 cinemas, but it was Christmas 91
Yeah.
when it was premiered on TV,
Yeah.
and we're all sitting there waiting for it. And
So
it was a family thing. But my mother got me into film big
Yeah.
time.
what was the first film you went to see at the cinema?
Oh,
The first time I was taken to the cinema, and I remember it was a special treat because it was expensive, and we didn't have much money at all. I remember my dad took me to see when it was re-released
Mm-hmm.
in the very early 90s, Disney's Peter Pan. And
Right.
it was just like all-time classic, and it was just beautiful.
And what snack did you have for that? Do you remember?
I don't remember the snack.
All right.
first film I remember going to see at the cinema.
Yeah.
I might have been to cinema before, but I don't remember. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what snacks did you have?
I don't remember. I was too young. All I remember was in the middle of the film, I got up and I was bursting for a toilet. So I've gone out by myself because my mum stayed, and I can't remember how old I would have been, or whenever it came out. So my mum stayed in the cinema. I've gone out, gone to the toilet, come back in, and not knowing I've gone to the same spot, and I'm like, "Where's my mum?" I've walked into the wrong screen. So I've walked into the next screen over and showing the same film.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the same film, what's going on?
In terms of the cinematic experiences as a kid when you're sitting there, and a film that's made for cinema.
Yeah.
Now, films that were made for a cinema experience are quite often Spielberg films. And I have to say, like my second, and this is the second film I ever saw, because you imagine how powerful this was. 1993, going to see it with my mum after waiting, Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
The build-up for that, the queue was down the street.
That in the cinema would have been
It was incredible. There was huge. Dolby Surround was a new thing, and it was brought in. There was big things for the film. In the cinema in York, there was a huge set design, and it was basically like a forest, like a jungle clearing, and there was a raptor just in there, and there was the constant sound of like a jungle environment. And I always remember they had a warning for the film, and you can, as you were going in, I remember it was quite scary because you could hear from the other film auditoriums the ground shaking. You could hear people screaming,
because of the sound.
and you could hear like roaring coming. And I remember it said it was a special thing for Jurassic Park. It said PG, parental guidance. It said, however, dinosaur attacks may scare the very young. And I always remember that underneath the PG thing. And I always remember sitting there, and the bit where Sam Neill and Laura Dern and Goldblum first see the Brachiosaurus, and they get out in the Jeep and looking at it, and we'd never seen anything like that before, the way it was done. And you know the bit where Goldblum's looking up at that and he's crying? I remember at that bit, it was emotional. And I remember I looked at my mum and she was crying.
Oh, really?
Because she'd never seen anything like that. It's one of those memories of film going that'll stay with me forever.
Yeah, I think, well, my first...
Oh, and the raptors in the kitchen. Oh, God, that was
Yeah.
scary on the big screen.
My first film was that I went to see at the cinema was Robin Hood, Prince
Men in
of Thieves.
Tights.
Prince of Thieves.
Ah.
Oh, right, yeah.
And my snack was Cola Cubes.
Cola Cubes. I love Cola Cubes. Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham was
brilliant.
super.
Yeah. You got me to watch this recently, didn't you? It wasn't long ago that I watched the
Possibly,
Prince of Thieves.
yeah.
Very good film. Honestly, got very good.
Was
film.
Morgan Freeman
Morgan
meant to be like a
Freeman was
Moor?
Moor, yeah.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
so.
But yeah, no, that was the first film I went to see at the cinema. But Kevin Costner is
What was
Robin
the?
I saw Waterworld at the cinema. It was
I
part
just-
of a kids'
all I
party.
remember is at that film
That almost
is
bankrupt the
Alan
studio.
Rickman. Well, it's not the only thing I remember about the film, but Alan Rickman just being great. In
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
like,
yes.
cut
He
your
was-
heart out
He
with a rusty
stole-
spoon.
He stole every scene he was
Oh yeah,
in.
but he does in every film he's in. Because he's
Yeah.
such
Or
a
is it
talented actor.
You 3 o'clock. You 3:30.
Yeah, it's like he says. I mean, just the throwaway lines. Even when he has a throwaway line in a film, like it's a line that doesn't even have to mean anything,
Yeah.
but he steals it. Like when there's a couple of lines that stand out to me. For example, in Die Hard, and it's just subtle, and they're not really lines. It's just like
Doing a Die Hard.
when he's when he's on the radio, for example, to Theo who's trying to break into the vault, and he's asking him how long. And he's telling him and then he says, and even though he started the conversation, he's like, then don't waste time talking to me. And then he cuts off on that. But later on, when that explosion goes off after Bruce Willis has thrown that the desk chair and there's a huge explosion, and that one of the terrorists comes in, he said, they're using artillery on us. And he goes, idiot, it's not the police, it's him. It's just a lie, but his delivery was superb.
I think even him in Dogma.
It's just that
Every movie that I've seen Alan Rickman in.
Yeah, now this is the
whether
thing.
it's
I wasn't
something
a big
even
fan.
something
I didn't
Love
like-
Actually, he's brilliant in.
I didn't like Dogma particularly.
You didn't like Dogma?
No.
he wasn't a fan.
You're not a massive fan of
But-
Matt Smith. Not Matt Smith.
No.
Kevin Smith.
No,
Kevin
but
Smith movies, are you?
but I liked Rickman's character in it.
Yeah.
That just shows to me that even if it's a film I don't enjoy, if he's in it, I enjoy him.
Mike's a bit close.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mike.
I think for Dogma, where he said, "What you're going to do? Hit me with that fish,"
Yeah.
and then where he's explaining
the way he says fish.
where he's explaining the drinking, hence all the spitting.
Yeah.
You know, because you got
And then he just drops his trousers.
I'm as anatomically as
correct
impaired
as
as
a Ken
Kendall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it's brilliant.
No.
Favourite Kevin Smith film?
That would be Dogma.
Would it be Dogma?
Yeah.
See, I would say...
I think because it was when I realised that because around then you didn't really know that Ben Affleck could act.
Can he act?
Do you still?
No, I think he's quite a
No,
good actor.
he's not a terrible actor, yeah.
And he's a good director as well, actually. But he
Not the best Batman.
no, not the best Batman, but you know,
Yeah.
so he was. It was the scene where him and Matt Damon is Bart being Loki.
Damon.
Yeah, Bart being Loki. They're he's explaining to Loki why they should be going through the archway
Yeah.
to get back into heaven, and it's like he's going on a rant, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, I thought it was quite good.
Yeah, he just goes off on him.
Yeah,
But
no,
I
it's a good film.
love Clerks.
Yeah,
His first
no,
film.
it's supposed to be here today.
Yeah. Hey, baby, you ever had your...
Yeah.
It's Jay and Silent Bob make every single film that they're in, because they're just bit characters.
Yeah.
And then except for more in like Chasing Amy.
Well, I think the reason why, from what I remember watching of documentaries and stuff, is Kevin Smith wanted to be in the film,
Yeah.
but he didn't want a big part. He just wanted to be in it in case it was the only film that they ever did. So he gave himself the role of Silent Bob.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's. I always love in Dogma though where he explains. No, sorry, in Jane Silent Bob. Or there's a couple of ones
where Amy as well, where he sits there and he goes really eloquent and just talks.
Yeah.
And it's just like the most intelligent sentence he's ever said, and then nothing else after.
And there's loads of bits where in Jane Silent Bob where he screams that he finally loses his ragged J.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to say about the critters of Hollywood and that, and he just loses it at Jay, and he goes, and Jay's like, say it, don't spray it, because it's really good. But yeah.
What happened to him though? Because didn't he have a heart attack or something, and then
Yeah.
afterwards
he had a massive heart attack.
yeah, and then he
Yeah.
became extremely emotional, and he was crying
what
all the time.
happened is he had a heart attack, and then he realised that he needed to change his life, or he's going to die, and he's got kids, and he thought, you know what, I'm going to sort something out.
Well, his daughter's
and then his daughter was
she was in
the reboot, right?
Jay Silent Bob. She was actually played Jay, I think. You know the kids at the beginning where they leave them outside the store.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be Jay and Silent Bob, and then they grow up. Well, one of them's his daughter.
Yeah. So
Side note.
So he had a massive heart attack, and then he basically just changed his life because he was like, I don't want to not be here for my kids.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So he ended up becoming vegan.
Yeah.
And then he's lost loads and loads and loads because he got quite big. He got even bigger than he was in the movies. And then
But a lot of people are saying that whatever he was doing though
really
also made him highly emotional though. I've only ever seen videos of him sobbing like a girl for some reason.
I don't know about them.
Especially since when he got a lot of bad reaction to his Netflix version of He-Man. He got a lot of hate for that, and he didn't handle it well.
I think, because I've not really seen any of that. I've.
Well, basically, you remember He-Man.
Yeah, no.
Where his version of it was kind of like a woke wonderload,
yeah.
and it pissed a lot of people off, and he didn't handle it well and started crying.
I think I like, just like I said, my favourite is Dogma, but I like George Carlin being in it. I've actually got the Buddy Christ.
Oh,
yeah.
That's good.
I've got the.
Was it that? Did that come from that film?
Yeah.
Because that just was everywhere.
That
wasn't
meme
it?
is from Dogma.
Yeah, it's because he's George Carlin's like, don't you just scream, Buddy Christ.
Buddy Christ.
But when he's on about like hooking while they're young, and he goes kind of like the tobacco industry. Christ, if only we had
And
that
then just look
numbers.
at the camera.
Yeah.
So, moving on, I would say, what is your favourite series? Like film series? I'm not including like...
You mean like franchise?
Not franchise, so much, well, yeah, kind of franchise, but not so much like, the Avengers movies or something. I'm on about like, there's like a 1, 2, 3. Obviously yours has got to be Alien.
Yeah.
No, not necessarily, but
like for me, if we're not including things like Harry Potter, because that's more of a larger thing, I'd say Back to the Future. I really enjoy Back to the Future.
Mine is an Alien. It's in terms of standalone for Alien, and Alien's a masterpiece. I absolutely love them. But in terms of a multi-film series where each one, they might not have planned to make the sequel, but the story dovetails, and there's a perfect story arc that goes full circle. In terms of timeline and narrative, I'd say it's the original Planet of the Apes saga. I absolutely love those films.
I think we know what mine's going to be.
Debbie Does Dallas.
Animal Farm.
No, it's
Freddy Got Fingered.
Star Trek.
Oh yeah. Now, big shout out for Star Trek.
Trek Wars.
Because I grew up watching the original series
with
my mother, and that was my crew. The original crew, the first films were just a huge part of my childhood. For example, when...
Sorry.
Oh. You throw me then.
The original film.
Yeah, saying about as a kid, like The Search for Spock. That's one of my all-time favourite films.
Yeah. I think, what's it, Khan? But we've discussed this before.
But just briefly alluding to what we were talking about before. You mentioned. I know you said it handles it differently in Spider-Man. But one of my pet hates of modern cinema is where they take an old franchise, be it Star Trek, be it the X-Men films did it towards the end, where they were like, oh, well, we don't like that. We want to redo this. I know. Time travel.
Yeah.
It's one of my pet hates of retconning.
Yeah.
And they did it in Star Trek, and that's why I will not watch those films, because it was such a cheap... Oh, don't worry. Those films that you grew up with loving, they happened at a different time.
The alternate time.
Oh, it gets me every time. It's just such a lazy writing trope.
So we're talking about what J.J. Abrams films. Yeah, so I went and watched those, and I was when they destroyed Vulcan in the first couple of minutes, and I was just like, felt like screaming at the screen, going, "No!"
What are you doing?
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
but
stop getting Star Trek wrong.
Yeah, but I think that the original motion picture. We've discussed this before.
Are all the Star Trek movies set after the original series?
Yes.
Yeah. And so the motion picture is awful as a Star Trek film.
Right.
As a standalone sci-fi
film. But as a science
film,
fiction film, it's a masterpiece.
It's a brilliant
film. It really is.
Right,
It really is.
Right, so if you take out the fact that it's a Star Trek, if you ignore that, it's a fantastic film.
It's too slow-paced to be a Star Trek story. But in terms of a sci-fi story with such a good twist, it's perfect.
So you kind of have to ignore that one.
Yeah, you enjoy it for what it is, but you start from Wrath of Khan.
But Wrath of Khan is,
And the mini trilogy in the series, even though the old films go up to 6 on Discovered Country, the trilogy that must be watched is Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, and Voyage Home. That's a mini trilogy in itself.
I give your gallant crew.
Christopher Lloyd. Oh, so good.
Yeah, and I love Christopher Plummer in it as well. I think my favourite Star Trek film is
Undiscovered Country. Yeah.
It's got to be, because it's all in there.
As a kid, it was Search for Spock. As an adult, it's Wrath of Khan. But I do love Undiscovered Country.
Yeah, it's a brilliant film.
See, I'm in the middle of watching the original series.
Right.
So I'm not going to watch the films until I've started seeing the series.
How good are some of the stories?
Some of them
in
are very
terms
good.
of the standalone.
I've just watched the Gorn episode.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That's where I'm up to. I think it's only like 17 or 18 episodes in. But I've just watched that one. It scared the life out of my eldest daughter. But she was in the room watching it with me, and it zoomed in on the Gorn, and it starts panning towards the camera. And she's gotten off the sofa and just gone, no!
You see, I thought, in terms of films, one of my childhood films, and I tried to show it to, even my sister said, oh, he'll be fine with that, because my nephew's 7. And his older brother said, oh yeah, watch that, put that on. Tremors.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now, to me, Tremors is like Jaws. It's not going to there's horror elements in it, and it's quite scary in bits. Yeah, well, I was quite surprised. It was like halfway through, it really bothered him. And he kept asking, bless him. He was asking, but he said, those are like wooden houses, aren't they? I said, yeah, in America, they tend to make them out of wood. He said, it couldn't get through the floorboards here, could it? Oh, you're safe in this house. And his mind, I could tell, was thinking how mine did when I was a kid, is that, could it come through the floor?
Yeah.
But bless him, he got really freaked out by it.
So what films are you looking forward to watching, or
most looking forward to? We've got a few Marvel coming out actually. You've got Thunderbolts coming out tomorrow.
Nothing cinema wise, but I still have to watch Sonic 3. I do love those films, and I need to watch Sonic 3. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Thunderbolts comes out tomorrow. Next week. Not next week. In a couple of months, we've got the Fantastic Four. But next year, we have Avengers Doomsday.
So, any films that aren't to do with Marvel
I'm looking for. I want to watch that. Is it Sinister?
Don't know.
It's the latest. It's like a horror thriller with Michael B. Jordan in. It's in the cinemas at the moment. It's got like a really good Rotten Tomatoes rating.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that. It's like a Get Out style type thing,
Right.
I believe.
Well, possession type horror.
With that kind of genre.
I tell you that the studio, ever since the first big hit was Paranormal Activity. Now that original one, I really like.
Yeah, really good.
It's great. It's in terms of the found footage type genre. It's like Blair Witch Project is a masterpiece. Oh my god, I love
I've
that.
not seen Blair Witch
I don't
Project.
know.
But
It genuinely
It's not very good.
the original Blair Witch Project is a masterclass in fear because it's all suspense. You don't see anything.
yeah.
It's your imagination. Yeah, you've got one.
I think this is where
But,
I've got an imagination. So the whole time I was watching it, I was imagining that I was somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Cue hipster takes like that. But I will say that Paranormal Activity, as much as it was a big hit, I think Blumhouse, the production company that went on, Jesus, they if it's a Blumhouse film, I'm like, ew. And then occasionally they surprise me with something good. But there's a new film, I think they've done Wolfman. That's a variation of
Yeah.
because they've finished doing possession stories or films
I
about
think the
nuns
genre's
and
over
dolls.
At the moment, there's people of all the Annabelle and
Yeah, but do you know what the problem is? It's not that, like, Andrew has. I understand he's got a big problem with a lot of horror films because there's a lot of shit.
see,
Yeah.
personally with horror, I find it too predictable.
What
I
film?
I've
Yeah.
But it's-
been through films before now. I've been watching it with the missus.
But it's big.
and I've been sat here and it's been on, and I've literally the first time I've seen it, I've gone 3, 2, 1, and then bang, jump scare.
100%.
Yeah, well,
It's
this is it. This is it.
Boring.
Jump scares are shit.
Yeah.
And what a jump scare is a director saying, "I don't know how to make this scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
That's why
I'll have a cat jumping out of a cupboard."
in Hellraiser 3 when they did that jump scare.
Yeah, I know that there's
it's
one.
so jarring.
I know, right? But there's one
'Cause there's no
literally.
point to
Did
it.
it scare you?
No, it didn't.
listen.
It didn't. It was just
Skill.
No, but
pointless.
listen. There's
really?
one jump scare in the entire friggin' film. It's all he goes on about. It's like compare that
it
to
ruined the whole thing.
yes, but compare that to modern horror films, which are literally 90 minutes of jump scares.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Which
Is
is
that-
why it's of
And then they
no
go-
relevance.
they
It's-
get all the
in that
reviews
it's not
and
that
like,
horror's-
amazing, terrifying.
It's not. Yeah, it's not that horror's dead. It's that the directors out there are crap.
Yeah.
They don't know how to direct horror. The best directors always knew one thing. Anyone should know this. It's not what you see.
Yeah,
It's what you don't see.
Yeah.
I tell you what was
Less
a good
is more.
film.
Less is more.
I tell you what was a good horror film that I've seen recently. Smile.
Right. Yeah, I think
I don't know
somebody
if you've
else told me
seen
about that.
No.
I know
it's,
the premise.
It's like a possession type thing. You watch someone die, and then it jumps into you, and then you go and.
Oh, hang on.
spread
Isn't
it.
that a variation on that internet thing at fear.com, was it? Or
Similar to that?
do you
yeah.
remember fear.com? God, that's a naughty
But,
thing, isn't
yeah,
it?
I thought it was very good. I don't know if I've seen the second one or if the second one just was a bit crap, but yeah, no, it's very good, and it's very right at the end when you finally see everything come out. You're like, oh god.
There's
So
some really
what's-
overrated films. The Insidious films were overrated to
What
hell.
is
Scared the
your
life out of me as a kid.
favourite?
It would have done at that age, yeah.
What is your favourite B movie?
B movie is in
Yeah. You know what a B movie is.
vaguely.
in literally a true sense of the word and an actual sense of the word, Michael Caine's The Swarm.
Yeah. So mine is Dog
You should see how many
Soldiers.
bees are in that.
Have you ever seen Dog Soldiers?
Yeah, I wouldn't even have that as a B movie.
I think that it was
It's tongue in cheek at parts.
yeah it was, but I think
but it's straight horror in others.
it was done as a sort of A movie, but I think it's actually one of the best B movies, really.
Oh, in terms of B movie, then you're referring to the production side of
Yeah,
it.
but
So
I
we're
think
talking like low budget.
yeah,
That director, Neil Marshall, who did Dog Soldiers. Now, his second film, I think, is one of the greatest British horror films of all time, and that's The Descent. Those women who
I
go,
haven't actually seen.
"Oh my God!" Right,
But-
I need to show you both Descent.
But I remember I was years ago.
I need to show you both the set.
I was
Into madness.
watching an advert for it, and I was walking outside. I was about to hang up some clothes for washing, and I just caught it. The Descent started to come on. There's a trailer on the TV, and I was just like, oh. So like half watching that and half heading outside, and then it was the bit where they were come behind them, the monster or whatever, and I just went
spoilers,
and I went oh no, and then I went to hang out the washing line,
but that film though, it hits you. It's misdirection.
Yeah.
You don't think it's going to be that sort of film.
Yeah.
It's very well done. It's a bit like how the original From Dusk Till Dawn is a crime film.
Yeah.
It's a crime case, but these two desperate brothers taking a family hostage, or what's going to happen? The hold up in this place. What the fuck? It's a vampire film? It's like, whoa, it's brilliant.
Was that
it's almost
George Clooney's first sort of
yes, it was.
feature?
That was George Clooney's first film. Before that, he was in ER.
Yeah, I thought he did really good in that film.
He was superb. The lines in that film.
Yeah.
George Clooney, I think it's one of the coolest ensemble collection of
Was
lines.
it Robert Rodriguez?
Yes,
Yeah.
Robert Rodriguez. Can you imagine the guy directed From Dusk Till Dawn did the Spy Kids films?
Yeah.
it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Which were good, actually. The Spy Kids films were good.
What's your favourite Tarantino film then?
Now
You're
again,
doing it to me again, directors, and I'm thinking, what? If you list some to me, I'll be like, all right,
I think Tarantino. I don't like his modern films.
Yeah,
I have to say,
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's not very.
Didn't like that.
Yeah.
Didn't like Hateful Eight.
Really?
Yes, it just made me want to kill people. To be honest,
I think it's the. I think it's the best.
I don't know whether you were supposed to, but literally, I just wanted to kill everybody.
Well, I mean, they all pretty much die anyway, don't
The
they?
yeah, but there was some pathetic moral posturing. We'll go into it.
Was it?
Yeah, I'd say if Pulp Fiction, everyone says Pulp Fiction, which I do love, but I still think it's his first film, Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
That would have to be
I've
my
not
favourite.
seen Reservoir Dogs, but I do really enjoy Pulp Fiction, so I'll have to go the cop out answer and say that. 'cause I
I'm
can't
going
think
to
of any
annoy
others.
John.
But Pulp Fiction is superb.
It is
I'm going to
fantastic.
annoy John and say Hateful Eight. I think it's the best film. I think it's really good, and it's. I think Walton Goggins is
What do you call me?
a great actor, and I like how.
It just made me too angry to enjoy.
Why? What these
What annoyed you?
moral?
Yeah, I don't want to get into it. It was just, it was typical. Shall we say, trying to rewrite history. So I couldn't get into it because of that.
I'm not sure. I've not seen it, so I don't know.
What did you think of Django anyway?
Oh, Django Unchained.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good film. I loved the scene.
Yeah, the original Django was like a
With-
70s spaghetti western.
Yeah.
I love the scene with they're all sitting around the dining table, and it actually really happened. Leo
he smashed
stands
it,
at the
yeah,
hand
yeah.
on the table and it scratched the glass,
Yeah.
and he actually sliced his hand open,
Yeah.
and he's gone over to
And he
the other
wipes it,
actress,
thinks
and
about
wipes
it,
it on her
and
face,
yeah.
and does all of that, and it was just so raw and real, and he must
How
have been in fucking agony.
When she
How she
realizes
didn't react.
what she does, if you watch it closely, you see her sort of go, like go "Oh," like this, and then go,
Kind of-
oh god,
Yeah.
she realizes it's real blood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I thought DiCaprio's character was superb.
Yes,
I loved it.
yeah.
He was struggling, when he was talking to himself. But can anyone explain, or maybe Tarantino has explained, what the hell was the end all about? Why did he take the actual real-life murder of Sharon Tate by the Manson family and then utterly change it into this insane, wouldn't it be cool if they all got murdered in ridiculous slapstick ways?
Yeah,
What was that all about?
I struggled with that.
Did you get what he was trying to go for there?
No.
What film is this one?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The end. It was leading up to an actual historical event, which was the Manson family's murder of Polanski's wife Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
Instead, though, he apparently veers off into what he would have wanted to have happened, and it was literally so. It took me so out of the film. I thought, you've just completely ruined it. What have you done? It was weird. But all I can say is I think Tarantino, as he's got older, he's started losing it.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. I think Hateful Eight is good.
But you understand what I mean about Once Upon a Time.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Because that could have been
Good
fantastic.
film, yeah. 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 Have you ever seen Fifth Element? No, not Fifth Element.
The Sixth Elephant.
12 Monkeys.
Yes.
That was
Only once though.
That was the film
In
where
the late
I
90s.
when I realised that Brad Pitt could act.
Yeah.
Because he was-
In terms of Brad Pitt, yeah, I think he was in one of my favourite all-time films, and I think it's really underrated.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
No,
it's actually not that bad.
It's actually a good
No.
film.
Wolfgang Petersen's Troy.
Yes.
Absolutely love
Really
that film.
good, yeah.
Do you agree with me that it's criminally underrated?
Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah.
I prefer it to Gladiator.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I only recently watched Gladiator, and you got me to watch it.
I'd
I
love
watched it,
to-
last year.
I love to see what you think of Troy.
Did
in
you
the director's
and
cut,
you, and you
it's superb.
recognise the theme song
Yeah,
as well,
that
didn't you?
messed my head up because you told me to look out for the the theme
Opening
song
scene.
in the opening fight scene, or the
Yeah.
opening war or whatever you want to call
Battle.
it. Battle. That one. That's the word. He told me to listen out for it, and I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, it can't be.
Oh, the music that they used during the
Yeah,
battle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
music
yeah.
They used during the battle, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I know it, but surely not. Surely I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I was genuinely, and I'm thinking, it's fucking it's Pirates of the Caribbean.
But it's been used in several films.
Yeah.
All I heard was the and I'm like, surely I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Surely it's not
Yeah.
me. Surely he meant something else. And then I came to you and I was like, was it Pirates of the Caribbean? He's like, yeah, it was. And I was like, what the hell? Why is that film? Why is that song in Gladiator? But yeah, that messed
It was
my head up.
It was Hans Zimmer, wasn't it?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the person who actually did the score in Gladiator was Hans Zimmer's protege, but really it was Hans Zimmer, but he was contracted to do Pirates of the Caribbean at the time, and he wasn't allowed to put his name.
But Pirates of the Caribbean, that was... What year was that?
It was about I think it was the same year.
No. Gladiator was 2000. Pirates of the Caribbean was something like... Christ, that was like 2004.
Well, either way,
It might have been in pre-production or something.
yeah,
Mm,
they
maybe it
basically,
must have been a long one.
Disney.
No, I tell you what was more likely happened. Some composers write pieces of music
Yeah.
for films, don't use it years before, and then sometimes think, that was the film I was going to... Some projects are delayed, but quite often composers reuse pieces
Right.
of music. I think that's what he did. I think he just reused it.
Maybe.
but there's an ever so slightly note change.
Yeah, there's a slight note, like a key change.
But yeah,
Yeah. Anyone got anything else to add?
Watch Troy.
watch
Watch-
Troy.
It
Watch
doesn't,
Troy.
it doesn't get watched enough. It's fantastic.
Watch
What-
Troy and Tarantino's lost his mind.
Yeah. What film?
Yeah.
What film would you suggest to
What I
watch?
suggest to watch,
Hmm.
if you've not seen it, Deadpool Wolverine. I think it's personally I think it's a masterpiece, a fan service and
I wouldn't say it's a masterpiece. It's,
well, not masterpiece. Any of the Cornetto trilogy other than the third one.
You see, I throw around that word a lot, but when I say it, I mean it.
yeah.
For me
'Cause you're probably
personally,
right.
for me that film is fantastic. Every scene had something for everyone.
It's a Deadpool Wolverine.
Deadpool Wolverine. I would say if you've not seen it, watch it.
Do you need to have watched the other Deadpool films?
No, not really.
You kind of
Because
Okay.
I haven't
Kind of.
seen any of them.
You need to know the character a little.
You need to know the character, yeah. But
Wolverine.
I would. It's obviously in. So if you've seen the original X-Men movies, you'll
Yeah, I love them.
if you,
Yeah,
if you,
This is the
you'll
thing.
get
In
it
terms of superhero films outside of Sam Raimi's trilogy, I love all the X-Men films.
if you've watched
Love
the
'em.
X-Men cartoons,
Yeah,
then
you know what?
You'll be alright.
yeah, you'll be right.
I love the original trilogy, X-Men, and up to the third one. A lot of people didn't like X-Men 3. I loved it.
Yeah.
But X-Men 3...
Well, The Last
is,
Stand?
yeah.
I thought it was alright.
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed that. Especially Vinnie Jones as Juggernaut. That had me in stitches.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
Days,
know who I am.
Days of Future Past was fantastic.
But Days
I
of Future Past was
really
another
enjoyed
time
that.
travel retcon.
Yeah.
But it was how it... I thought it dealt with the time travel. I knew what it was doing,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed it.
So essentially, after Days of Future Past, everything that happened in the original trilogy didn't happen.
Yeah, I know. but I forgive it
And now they're
because
new cast, and now that we can reboot this show.
Yeah.
You know, it's
oh yeah, I know it's guilty of that. It's
they
just
did it
that
so they could reboot the.
I
the
didn't
franchise.
like them doing that, but I thought that the way they did it was a lot less clumsier than other franchises have
Oh
done.
yeah.
So right, we've got Deadpool, Wolverine. What would you suggest
What in terms of?
to watch?
Film to watch.
Well, I said Troy,
Yeah,
the
Troy.
director's cut of
Troy.
Troy.
I would suggest Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth, yeah, brilliant film. So on that note, thank you all very much for watching. Watch Deadpool Wolverine, it's been the newest one. Troy and then Pan's Labyrinth, not necessarily in that order, you can watch it however you like, at the same time
Or
if you
not
wish.
watch.
Or not watch, or just, call us all a load of idiots and say fucking we're not watching any of it.
Which also I recommend.
Yeah, definitely, highly recommend it. So, once again, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We've been the Degenerates, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye bye.